I don't even want any of the leadership. I just really want to live a peaceful life with my partner, my kids, and my dragon. And when you get to that, when you get to that part in the series, it's just it does hit you. It does hit you when you actually like take a step back and think Lee really went through a lot in that story. What's good, everybody, and welcome back to the archives. Today I have a kind of a special, different themed video for you guys, and really the main topic of this video is this. We're gonna talk about books that have layers like an onion. I know it's very cliche, it's corny, but just go with it, okay? You know, I've always been envious of people who can really sink their teeth into the core of a book, kind of like get as much out of it as they can, because a lot of the times I can't. I just read a book on very surface level, face value, take whatever the author gives me, don't really think about it too much, see if I liked it or not, and then I'm on to the next book. So I do like to every now and then really think about, what was that story really trying to tell me? What was the author trying to portray through this book? Not just like the surface level themes. Like if I really tried to dig in deeper, what would I find? And so this video is really telling you guys some books that I have read in the past that I really enjoy, that you can enjoy whether you read it at the surface level, or if you wanted to dig in deeper, they have deeper meanings for you to sink your teeth into and really get more out of the story if you want it. But before we get to those books, if you don't mind indulging me, I just want to talk about what I think about when I think of the different layers of reading into a book and reading into a story. So the first level is really surface level, right? It's what is the author explicitly saying on the page and just showing me, right? Is there clearly written in foreshadowing to a later event, or clearly written in flashbacks to something that's happened, to where I don't really have to think, I'm just taking what the author gives me, right? And that can really be anything, but it's mainly like you're not really going into what's been unspoken. You're not really reading between the lines. You're just reading the lines and just enjoying the story for what it is, and just having a very casual read. Perfectly fine if you would like to do that. And then I think about one layer deeper, what is really going on there? You know, a very simple layer one concept in a book is like the orphan trope, or this enemies to lovers relationship trope, or the coming of age story type trope. The coming of age story in of Blood and Fire that I just read, you wouldn't really call it a coming of age story, because you would think, oh, they at the beginning of the story they went into the forest and did their challenge and came back out, and now they're men. They had their coming of age exam at the beginning of the book. The rest of the story is like a hero's tale. But I really see it as the actual story. The actual coming of age exam is the entire story for these three gentlemen. That's kind of easy to pick up on, but you kind of have to think about it. And then a layer deeper, layer two, you're really diving into these characters. What are their personalities like? Are they overly optimistic or pessimistic? Are they always neutral? Is there a reason behind that? Do they have some sort of like emotional, physical trauma? Do they really emotionally numb themselves and really just focus on like the task at hand, like Asher from Echo Saga? Do they have trust issues? Do they have like a hard time talking to people, things like that? And maybe why is that, right? It's not just like they're mute or they're shy. Like what is the reason behind kind of these actions? And you know, for an example, like stories that have relationships, is it like a parasitic relationship between these individuals or these groups or these entities? Is it mutually beneficial? Is it one-sided, both-sided kind of thing, right? You kind of have to like look into the personalities of the two parties to really get like what is this relationship about? What's going on here? The political example, like, you know, if there's political turmoil, what's really causing it, right? Is it like the advisor speaking through the king? You know, are there spies or external forces affecting this kingdom without anyone knowing, things like that, right? So, I mean, I feel like layered approaches can work for anyone depending on how savvy you are. Like these things for me are second layer because I don't really look into them as much. They might be first layer for you, might be better picking them up. These are just examples that I can give you from my own reading. And then the last part is like what is the core of the story really telling you, right? The easiest example I can give you, because it's the most recent example, is when I read Ghosts of Rainia by Tim Fasciola. And, you know, he had explicitly told us this, but when I read it, it really made sense. Like that book is about generational trauma. And really, how do you let go of somebody else's baggage they've put on you? How do you work through and let go of previous generations passing down their issues and trauma to the next generation? How does that affect relationships with people around you? How does that affect you yourself? How does that affect your actions, etc.? That's like at the core of the book. That's really what the message is, and kind of what the theme is. And sort of kaigen, the literal core message of the story is like, you know, you can run from your past, but you're running, a lot of the times you're running from your past and you're running right back into your past. You can't run from it. You have to face it, confront it, work through it, overcome it, but you can't run from it. Otherwise it will have consequences for those around you, you know? Those are just two examples of, I think, books that have really solid core meanings. But I mean, honestly, when I read books, I really don't go that deep unless I really am in love with the book and in love with the story. So I don't really get to the core meaning in a lot of books. Also, if you have never read these books, there will be some spoilers in the way that I'm trying to explain what the layers are. So if you really don't want to be spoiled, I am going to timestamp every single book that I talk about. So if you don't want to get to a certain book, just skip that section of the video if you would like. If you don't think you're ever going to read one of the books, then just feel free to watch the entire video. But to kind of talk through all the books with you, here are 15 books, and actually they're series because your boy reads series and not standalone novels. So here are 15 series for you that I think you will enjoy, surface level or at any layer that you want to dig deep into. You know, the Seven Realms series, the Air Chronicles, the Shrouded Realms series, all of like Cinda Williams Chima's books, they're amazing to read at surface level. They're so fun, so engaging, so immersive. You dig a little deeper, and almost every single time there is going to be some sort of trauma involved with the characters, whether it's generational, like passed down, or self-inflicted, or just personal trauma that they've experienced, mixed with some sort of political strife and turmoil that's not as clear as just like a bad egg, a bad leader, or whatever it is. I feel like those two have always been really present in the series that I've read, and it makes for a really fun like read when you get to read it knowing these things and like picking up on these things. The Atlas 6 series is fucking deep if you really read into it. I haven't read book 3. I never actually finished Atlas Complex. I read 6 and Paradox. But there's a lot of commentary on personal experience, personality types, trauma there, its own political strife with the upper management of the magic people and things like that. A lot of layers between like the relationships between certain characters. You know, it really shows, like, if I recall, like Nico has a very, I want to save, like a savior complex. Libby has kind of a self-destructive complex in a little bit. Or is it Libby who has a self-destructive complex? I think one of the 6 has a self-destructive complex and things like that, right? You can really dig into these things if you really think about them. Sort of kaigen, we talked about. That story is just crazy on the layers. A coming of age story, a becoming emotionally available story, a running from your past story, a hidden secrets type story, like that kind of story. There's many layers to it once you get into it. At the surface, it's very much like coming of age mixed with your past catches up to you. But when you go deeper, there's a lot of other hidden meanings there. Okay, I can't recall exactly what the layers are, but Gallant by V.E. Schwab is strife with them. You'd have to read it. I think I would have to reread it to really pick them out for you. But when I remember reading it, it was just so much was in there. It was a commentary on so many things that after I finished reading it, I was just like, I had to process it for a little bit, you know? I apologize. I can't give you like examples on that one. My fault. Maybe I shouldn't have put it on the list if I couldn't give you examples for it. The Will of the Many by James Islington. That one is pretty layered. You have a very like brave, courageous, self-righteous almost main character, and this whole society is very parasitic society, right? It's a very pyramid scheme society, very parasitic, very stomp on others to get to go as high as you can type of story. And then on top of that, it's worse because it's so leech-like and parasitic that it's hard to overcome your bullies because they're just so much more powerful than you. Very interesting commentary. I'm really curious to see how it progresses as you go forward, as the story progresses forward, because this is only book one. I talked about it in my last video and a little bit, in this one, but Of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill, Ascendant by Michael R. Miller. I've only read book one of those series each, so I can't give a huge commentary on the overall core message of this story. But just reading those in book one, there's a lot of layers in terms of like Of Blood and Fire. We talked about the coming of age stuff. In Ascendant, there's a very strong commentary on society, order, chaos. Like, what is chaos in a society? What is order in a society? How are they achieved? I'm hoping to get more out of them as I read, because I'm actually looking for these layers in these as I'm reading them now. Bro, the Fireborn trilogy has so many layers, character driven and societal. It's a whole politically driven story. So like when you really take like not a step back but a step forward into the story for Fireborn, you really see Lee and Annie, and even some of the supporting characters, but like really Lee and Annie not really ending up where they kind of expected to. Well, maybe in a way Annie did, right? Because Annie was very driven. She always knew that she wanted to be at the top. She really wanted to be a leader, didn't know if she could because of her orphan status and people looking like down on her and things like that. But she really showed up when it counted, and Lee thought he had to be the one to overthrow the leadership and really bring his family's take revenge for his family and bring his legacy back to life. And at the end of it, he was like, I don't even want any of the leadership. I just really want to live a peaceful life with my partner, my kids, and my dragon. And when you get to that, when you get to that part in the series, it's just it does hit you. It does hit you when you actually like take a step back and think, Lee really went through a lot in that story. I'm not crying because of the story. It's this onion down here that's really making me cry. Fuck. What the fuck is happening? I should not be like this. This is not how the video was supposed to go. We're gonna move on from this. So like Shadow and Bone, Six of Crows, King of Scars duology. This there's heavy layers in this one. I love Six of Crows and King of Scars more than Shadow and Bone, but easiest layers are always political strife, all that stuff, right? We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about character relationships, right? We're going to talk about trust issues. We're going to talk about savior complexes. We're going to talk about inferiority complexes. We're gonna talk about really emotional numbing. Like so many characters in this story really exhibit a lot of different personality traits that you just kind of have to read to really understand, like Zoya's emotional numbing, Kaz is, and a lot of the crows is like trust issues. The fucking best friend who went I am become Blade or something, some bullshit like that. Like he had his own, like, I don't recall if that was an inferiority one or a savior one, but he had this thing of like, I need to fight and save, I need to protect I think it was a protector complex of like, I need to be the protector, I need to be the guard, I need to be the warrior who stands in front, that kind of stuff. Very, very interesting personality traits if you really like read into them. The Drowned Empire series by Andrea Stewart, that one really hit me last year when I read it. Free Jovis. I can't not talk about that story and not say Free Jovis every single time, because just this savior complex that Jovis had, that it never went right for him, and all the way to the end of the book, the only way for him to get away from this savior complex and away from being pulled in to be the hero that he really didn't want to be, he really wanted just to like not do anything after a while, he had to lose his memory for him to be free. Like, that's not freedom. I mean, that's freedom in a way. It's freedom from your memories in your past, but that's some scary shit. And then like just the entire commentary of this entire world being built on these on creatures like Mephi. I forget what they're called now, but the entire world and islands just being, hey, these really cute sea creatures, yeah, we're living on them. Oh, these like this mind fuel source that we're like powering our systems with and our lives with. Oh, we're mining into the bodies of these things. That's some fucked up shit. It's a great series. The next one is A Vengeful Realm and the Ghosts of Rainier by Tim Fasciola. Tim is a very layered author. He really writes a story honestly with every single layer you could think of. When I would urge you to go back to the Ghosts of Rainier and the book club video that I made to really like understand what I mean by the layers. But it's insane when you really like step into the story and you see all these characters. You really see, like, you know, you always ask the question, why are they doing this? And I was in the book club and we would talk about A Vengeful Realm sometimes while talking about Ghosts of Rainier, and you know, every character has at least 2 layers, more or less, maybe one or two layers. And you're always asking yourself, like, why are they doing this? Why are these decisions being made? But if you actually stepped into one of the layers, you would understand, like, the behavior makes sense. Don't agree with it, but it makes sense how they got to that conclusion and why they did the thing they did. Fuck Danella, still to this day, I don't know how the fuck that's a complex character made into the packaging of a really, God, she grinds my gears so much. I did not want to let her do the things that she did, but she did. Zephyrus, Phoenix, Ilya as being their characters, Vicanalia, Layden. Thraina has like 4 layers. Say what you want about her now. Yo, after A Vengeful Realm, I was like, I don't fuck with Thraina. After Ghost of Rainier, I fuck with Thraina. The characters have layers. The story itself is very layered in terms of there's never really a who's right, who's wrong type of. It's not really a clear right and wrong. It's very gray. There's no black. It's not really black and white either. So you have to like really work through, like, there's more stuff going on here. I can't just say that this faction is wrong because of what they did and that faction is right because of what they did. They're just, you know, to give an example, there's obviously like the savior complex that Zephyrus has because he's been thrust into this world and now he's been told, like, you're the omni mage, you're the savior, you're the prophet, you're the person of prophecy. Phoenix gets taken advantage of because he has his own high ego and superiority complex, to where it's very easy to take a hold of him by telling him, I can make you the best because you deserve to be the best because you put in so much work to be the best. You should be the one standing at the top. And he's like, you're right, I should be the one standing at the top. And then you see what happens there. those brother in arms are two of my favorite characters from the story. So just want to give that example. And then the last one is the Echo Saga, right? The Echo Saga is a 9-book series, phase 1, 2, and 3 by PC Quaintroll. I haven't made a full video on this series yet because I don't really know how I want to talk about it. I think I would almost have to be an hour and a half long video, just me talking about, like, just talking about it. No structure, just let me go. Like a podcast, just talking about this story. But coming back to the layers thing, like, I don't know if the core meaning of this story would be like, not everybody gets a happy ending, or not everybody deserves a happy ending, or is a core message of this story like you simply cannot run from fate? But so many like things lead into the second one of like, you cannot run from fate. Fate will run its course. You can only run with it. You try to run against it, and it's going to loop you right back into running with it. So many, like, I feel like Nathaniel and Reyna were really like, they were layered characters, but not the most layered. I think a lot of the layers happen in Gideon, Asher, obviously, Inara, and Elijah. Heavily layered characters. Doran, heavily layered character. Those guys had real layers to them, which I think as the story progresses, why the focus was on those guys as opposed to like after the first phase, Nathaniel, Reyna, Torin, like they were really just kind of off to the side because their story was more or less done. They were there to support the rest of these characters. Asher has this huge guilt complex about, I don't deserve good things because of my murderous past, and all I can do now is just keep on killing the bad guys to make it for all the non-bad guys I may have killed in the past. It's essentially how he does it until the last few books really unlock everything for him, you know? Inara or Gideon has this huge, it's almost a savior complex in the sense that like he has all this huge responsibility that he's like, I was just a teenager, like I was just a young adult, a mage, and now I have a dragon and I'm a leader of an order and I have to train other like riders and really consult an entire kingdom. That's heavy. And he just kept, I think he was so afraid to make mistakes that he ended up making mistakes. He was so afraid, he had to put on a very brave and competent front, and that just didn't. And you just end up making mistakes. Inara had a huge guardian complex. She's like, I'm the guardian of this realm. Like, I have to always be out front. I have to put my brave face on. Bro, I almost forgot about Vigon. Oh, my actually favorite character of the entire story is Vigon. We'll get to in a second. Yeah, Inara's guardian complex. Elijah's, he loved the realm so much, he became a puppet of it. And that was just so sad to see. I'm not going to start crying again, I promise. But Elijah's story is what made me feel like not everybody gets a happy ending. But then you see Vigon, you see the opposite of Elijah, right? Vigon didn't love the realm like Elijah did, but he knew that like he had to protect his family, his friends. And then it just ended up that the realm became his family. And so all he could do was fight for his family in that sense. Really steadfast individual. I think that's all of them that I went through. This ended up being so much more serious than I usually do. I wish I would have had more banter in there, but I mean, So I'm gonna go cut the rest of this onion so that it doesn't go to waste. But I appreciate you guys listening in on this very layered video. I hope you guys gleaned something, either it's information or enjoyment or more books to add to your TBR. Let me know down below if like what books you've read that you feel like really have some heavy layers to them that you think maybe other people don't know, or that you would just like to share. If you do like this video, please do like, comment, subscribe to the channel, like letting me know that you've watched through this, because I would like to do more videos like this for you guys, but only if people really can really watch it. I don't love making a video that not a lot of people watch, because then I can't get it to as many people as I would like to. So if you do like videos like this, please let me know and I will continue to make more. But if you don't like the video like this, that's fine. Onions aren't for everybody. That being said, I'll catch you guys later for next time. I don't know what the video is gonna be, but there will be a video. So I will see you next time. Peace.